Question number 2 comes from Anne. Anne says,
Hey, Anne.
Hi, Sean and Laura. My 6-month-old GSD comes to work with me daily in an open office environment where there's like 80 to 100 people.
Wow,
and
cool.
He's always been laid back and chill in the office. He's very social and always so well behaved there. We have a young lady with disabilities, some cerebral palsy, and I think and perhaps some other issues who loves him. Recently, whenever she approaches my desk, he barks at her with hackles raised. He only does this when she comes to my desk, not if he approached her at the desk in the cafeteria area. I surely don't want to endanger the little girl, and it's a privilege to be able to bring him to work. I don't want to screw it up for us or others who bring their dogs. Yesterday, he did the same thing to 2 other coworkers who we already had seen several times during the day, so it's not just her.
Yep.
Outside of work, he's bold and pushy. He bullies our 9-year-old GSD, biting her neck, face, and legs like he was a wolf and she was a deer to be taken down. She's always
Wow.
helpful with other dogs, but he seems to be fearful of him when he starts this shit. He doesn't do that if they're both on leash, only if he's leashed or if they're both loose. All of this just started recently. Not sure if he feels like he has to guard me at my desk. He's enrolled in a training program and has also been to their day school program once a week for a couple months. Help.
I'd be so curious what kind of training program that is, first and foremost. Just let me, before we jump into these guys, I'd love to find out, and if it's a food protocol, like positive only, just rewards based training, or if you're using actual tools for a shepherd that would be more appropriate, like leash and prong or any e-collar work or anything like that. So hit us back with some info about that. And with that, Jeffrey, Tori, take it.
Sorry.
Well, you've got a German Shepherd dog who is bred to be protective, but not against your fellow workers, especially not against somebody with cerebral palsy, absolutely not towards people, guests in your home. As an owner of 4 German Shepherd dogs, which has nothing to do with it, but also working line dogs and dogs that actually are trained to bite, would never do this behavior at all in the workplace. I think you are spot on that you and your dog, this is not guilt, can actually destroy the animal-friendly policy at your workplace. So the cool thing is that you have an animal-friendly policy at your workplace, so let's keep it that way, because boy, would I hate to see your German Shepherd dog not come to work with you and have to be home all day. So let's do this. It's going to get worse if you don't address it. So if anybody tells you that the dog will get better as it gets older, maybe around the 12 to 13-year-old mark, we might see some improvement. If
It's got wheels for back legs.
Right, we might see some improvement if we don't address it now. And I'm saying that seriously because that is common.
Yeah.
Especially if you're in a training program where they're not using tools that are going to work on a dog like this, it's easy to say, like, it's your fault.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the other people's fault.
Don't you dare let anybody at that training program tell you, like, well, there's nothing you can do about this. You just got to manage it, put them away, or anything like that.
Also, the dog does not need more exercise. So if you ran that dog 10 miles before work, it would most likely still do the same displaying of unacceptable behavior, and then eventually after 2 months you'll have an athlete on your hands.
A marathon won't stop him from guarding?
No, which is nice. So what I want you to do is this. Your dog needs to understand what yes and what no is. And your dog needs to understand what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. So I'm going to suggest that you don't use the workplace right now as the training ground. Let's use out of the workplace as the training ground. And it sounds like the dog is displaying some of these behaviors out of the workplace. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to get, one of our videos. Sean has got a fantastic remote collar training DVD. Remember, remote collars are not just for no, they're also for yes. What you'll be doing is you'll be fully training your dog on all the basic commands with a high emphasis of the place command and then how to correct a dog for non-compliance.
And probably recall as well, so you can
exactly.
Back,
so then what I want you to do is start educating that dog what you want and what you don't want. Also, believe it or not, what I'd like you to do is don't let people pet the dog in the workplace. You're there to work, the dog is there to work. Now that does not mean never, but when you're at your desk, I absolutely do not want this dog to think that every single person that walks by or approaches you is a potential friend or foe. I want this dog to actually think that they're a non-existent thing.
None of their business.
It's none of their business at all. So now it's going to put you in a hard spot of saying, no, you can't pet my dog, which might be hard for the special needs person because this person probably likes the dog, but unfortunately your dog has not earned the right to say hello. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a hiatus on the hellos from everybody, even the people that actually get along with the dog.
Don't you think maybe hiatus on work? While you're training?
It depends like what kind of training they're doing. It depends what kind of effect they're having. One thing I wanted to add is that it's a 6-month-old shepherd, so it's like this is age-appropriate crappiness, right? It's typical to see a shepherd at 6 months start to give you all sorts of monkey business. Doesn't mean it's right, but it means it's time, like Jeff said, to start adding training, structure, rules. Yes, no, this is okay, this is not okay. Here's accountability. Here's consequences for inappropriate behavior. So if that dog is at your desk, down the line eventually, if your dog is to be growling at anybody or taking exception with anybody, your dog should be corrected and let know straight away. Do not. That's none of your business. How dare you growl? How dare you bark? How dare you be offended by anybody? It's not your job to protect or be possessive or territorial of me here. This is my office. You zip it up. So that's something I feel pretty strongly about, making sure that you understand that what's going on is it's not that your dog is like turning into some monster. It's that you're moving out of puppyhood into adolescence, and you're going to start to see more of the true dog come out.
It's gotten a lot of like kind of freedoms with like work time is a privilege, you know? So yeah, I think it sucks that we don't know what training's going on. You know?
Yeah, but like start with prong collar, move to e-collar, and like do a full program with this dog and have this dog highly trained and highly accountable, and then you can have a shepherd that's in a great space. But I'm telling you, we get shepherd after shepherd after shepherd, as I'm sure everybody here does, that have not been told what's appropriate and what's not appropriate, and so their natural genetics, their DNA kicks in and says, I'm going to protect, I'm going to possess, I'm going to guard, I'm going to do all this, and most of them are nervous and insecure about it, so they make bad choices. They're not prepared to assess and make good choices. So that's on you to lead and guide your dog rather than let your dog make these choices. Tori, I'm sorry if I kind of ate up all your time.
That's okay. I was going to talk about the behaviors with the adult dog at home too.
Cool.
So,
nail it.
Yeah, so we've got like a pushy, young teenage age, right?
I totally forgot about that. Yeah.
So and we usually see like correspondence of pushy, kind of bratty stuff happening probably at home. You didn't really go into much of your home life with your dog, but if she's constantly pestering, or he is constantly pestering your older dog, we have to make sure that we advocate for the older dog and address that.
Absolutely.
Your older dog walking through the house and constantly being nipped at and pestered is just another opportunity for your shepherd to be doing something inappropriate, and it all
and getting away with it.
Getting away with it, exactly. It all comes full back to he's growling at the workplace. He shouldn't be doing that. Well, he shouldn't be. Your older dog is sending signals, and if your young guy isn't getting it, you've got to step up and address that. And again, structure in the house, e-collar training, creating a household management program where he's learning impulse control and learning how to be calm around your other dog. A lot of young dogs don't know how to be calm around other dogs, and that's a huge element of
Very true.
The issue you may be having between him and your 9-year-old shepherd.
And just to kind of build off that, if you were to correct your dog significantly for being a jackass to the other dog, you might see a lot of the other problem behaviors go away, right? All of these things are connected, just like Tori's saying. So if your dog's being a bully inside the house, let's get rid of the bullying inside the house. You're probably going to see a lot of other things get better. Now, how do you do that? The simplest, quickest, easiest way is a leash and prong on your dog inside the house, and let that dog drag that leash and prong around. You see your dog misbehave, bully, push, pressure your other dog, you say no, and you give him a nice firm pop, and you let him know that doesn't fly in this house, and watch your dog's behavior start to change.
Also, make sure you're crating your dog at night, crating your dog when you're not away, and obviously it's going to be a given. You're going to fully train this dog. So pretty much this is show number 92. Go back to the last 91 shows, and you want to be doing everything about this. I'm sure that Sean and Laura talk about this all the time, but whenever anybody asks one question and they give them an answer about that specific behavior, that doesn't mean you don't do all the other stuff you're supposed to be doing. So, same thing with this. Got a 6-month-old dog. Make sure you're fully training it. Real training where it's going to be eventually off-leash trained, and not by the time it's 3, but actually by the time it's 1 year old.
Yeah, if this dog's roaming through the house with no structure, you're in big trouble, right? If you got a young, pushy, bratty shepherd that's just roaming around, none of us would allow that. Should be crated when unsupervised, should learn place straight away, That dog needs to learn that you run that house and that he doesn't.
Now, a lot of we have 6 minutes we've gone over, but almost every one of these questions is actually a 1 hour answer.
Yeah, right.
So just keep that in mind.
So you have to do the work and really research back to get all the details.
Exactly.
The
Excellent.
deets.
Cool. Let us know
Excellent.
how it
Cool.
goes. Okay.